fellow Biafrans. This is Comrade Commander Gadi Irashular of Biafra Liberation Army, BLA, a division of Biafran National Guard, BNG, and hereby proclaims as follows: the Biafra Liberation Army, BLA, has taken initiative to organize elite comrades of Biafra veterans of foreign military and law enforcement services for guerrilla warfare against the Nigeria establishment, in pursuit of Operation Restore Freedom. The Biafra Liberation Army, BLA, is assuming the role it is destined to play in the restoration of the sovereign state of Biafra. Be assured that the Operation Restore Freedom, once it begins, will severely test the stability of that contraption called Nigeria, including its institutions, leadership and economy. One thing is clear. There are difficult times ahead for that zoo contraption called Nigeria, and its evil security forces. For many years now, Biafrans all around the world have been creating awareness to the global community on the oppression and marginalization of the people of Biafra by the Nigeria state, for well over 100 years. The plight of Biafrans and unjust killings of the innocent, in Biafraland, has continued in its worst form, even till this day. These includes, but not limited to, numerous acts of violent genocide, kidnapping, raping, maiming, extortion and arson. In analyzing the plight of our people, we have systematically employed processes of critical historical inquiry, to reconstruct and reinterpret the past, by using a variety of sources and checking their credibility, validating and weighing documented evidence, interviewing witnesses, searching and locating causalities, and reporting vital details pertaining to the victims of these crimes. We have equally investigated, interpreted, and analyzed multiple historical and contemporary viewpoints, within and across cultures related to these crimes, recurring dilemmas, and persistent issues, while employing empathy, skepticism, and critical judgment, in seeking answers from the evidence, to the unjust plight of our people of Biafra. For many years, we have engaged in the process of protesting, as a great way to show power and courage. Rather than listening to the plight of Biafrans, the Nigerian establishment intensified its oppression against our people. Tens of thousands of youths were severely beaten, shot and killed. Acid were poured on their bodies, to make it unrecognizable, while many others were kidnapped, tortured, raped and killed, including women and children. All these in addition to the yet unforgotten genocide, committed against our people during the 1967 to 1970 Biafra-Nigeria conflict, when over 6 million Biafrans were senselessly killed, by the Nigeria government of the day, with help from its British masters, and its allies. For nearly a decade now, the people of Biafra have engaged in non-violent resistance action, in order to create awareness to the global community, of the unjust oppression being meted out, against the people of Biafra. Biafrans have equally engaged in the process of numerous civil disobedience, boycotting, striking, and protesting over the unjust oppression and marginalization, and killings of our people by the Nigerian establishment. These efforts were made, under one Biafra, freedom-fighting umbrella, and, under the leadership of Prince Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the eminent supreme leader of our indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, and the supreme commander of the armed forces of Biafra, in accordance to the 2007 United Nations, UN, Charter for the Rights of the Indigenous Peoples, as well as the provisions enshrined within the Constitution of the now expired Federal Republic of Nigeria, for the rights of the indigenous peoples, who are marginalized and oppressed, to agitate for their freedom, and fight for their independence, as a sovereign nation. Therefore, the people of Biafra, as an indigenous peoples, within the geographic region known as Nigeria, for over 5,000 years, are within their rights, to agitate for their freedom, as a sovereign independent nation, outside that zoo contraption, called Nigeria. Although by itself, having tremendously empowered Biafrans to relinquish their fears and courageously challenge the Nigeria establishments, the evangelism, and protests, in itself, has not brought Biafra independence. Nevertheless, it has seriously undermined British authority over Nigeria, crippled Nigeria economy, severely weakened the establishment, and united Biafran population under one umbrella, Ipob, Freedom Fighting Movement, for Independence, under the leadership of Prince Nnamdi Kanu, the eminent supreme leader of our indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, and the supreme commander of the armed forces of Biafra. The carefully choreographed evangelism movement had seized the initiative, went from village to village, city to city, country to country, providing opportunities to make public statements of protest and to recruit people into the movement. We commend the efforts of our eminent supreme leader, Nnamdi Kanu, the eminent supreme leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, and his able deputy, Honorable Mfor, who mobilized mass participation, including widespread protests and civil disobedience, which had a profound cultural resonance, and attracted worldwide attention through the social media, and to a certain extent, the mainstream media. We equally commend the efforts of Mazi George Onibe, and all the Radio Biafra broadcasters across the globe, for the wonderful works they are doing for our people. All works of the hardcore formidable Biafrans across the world, including those in Biafraland, are equally commendable. We must remain resolute and courageous. At this point in our struggle, for that zoo contraption called Nigeria has been totally weakened, and will continue to go down until it ceases to exist. Our people are now more united, fearless warriors. The Fulani Sokoto Caliphate is in shambles, and its foundation has crumbled, the British Empire's facade of civility exposed, and pillars of its vast power shaken, but we still have more work to do. Our formidable hardcore Biafrans must remain resolute, staying on the course of this journey, until these evil bastards are driven out of our land. While the multifaceted campaign of demonstrating and protesting helped us create the attention needed, and the attention we wanted, historical evidence has shown that while civil nonviolent protesting is a great action to take, it isn't always the best, as our protests had fallen into deaf ears, has not moved many around the world to sympathize with the Biafran cause, has not motivated the Nigerian establishment to stop killing our people and come to the negotiation table. Rather, in the recent periods, the Nigerian establishment intensified the killings of our people, especially thousands of innocent women and children, as well as unarmed Ipob demonstrators, to a level never before seen in our history. The Nigerian establishment has been systematically encroaching on our rights and liberties, in its evil intention to Islamize our land, by abolishing various forms of our cultural events involving singing, dancing, and drums at public gatherings that involves crowd. To make matters worse, the Nigerian establishment has authorized, funded to the tune of 160 billion naira, set up radio networks, and fully equipped, empowered, and ordered the fourth most dangerous terrorist organization in the world, the Fulani herdsmen, to intensify their evil terrorizing of innocent Biafran citizens, in their homes, farmlands, highways, marketplaces and their place of businesses. Furthering to these atrocities, the Nigerian establishment ordered all law-abiding citizens with licensed firearms to submit those firearms to the police, while giving the terrorist organizations Fulani herdsmen and Miyetti Allah the opportunity to terrorize the entire country with automatic weapons. These efforts were meant to ensure that innocent citizens of Nigeria are rendered powerless and unable to defend themselves during attacks by these terrorist organizations. These carefully planned wicked and callous attacks were carried out at nights, when citizens are sleeping and powerless, and during the daytime when they are in their farms and business places. To further their evil agenda, the Nigerian establishment are now permanently laying siege all across the states of Biafraland, with the police, army, navy, customs, DSS, and other purported security agencies, some in uniform, and some without uniform, some masked with hidden faces, some unmasked, some without name badges, and without name tags, some without identifications. All these men were setting up permanent roadblocks, performing unreasonable and unwarranted personal and property searches, assaulting, intimidating, harassing, kicking, shoving, maiming, and killing law-abiding citizens, all across Biafraland. It is on the record that the Nigerian establishment, within the past 4 years, continued dropping caches of arms all across the forests of Biafraland, setting up numerous arms depot warehouses in mosques and forests of Biafraland, from whence the terrorists Fulani herdsmen and Mietiala were plotting and executing evil attacks on our farms, roads, homes, marketplaces, churches, town squares and remote villages. These senseless killings, raping, violent occupations and unlawful invasions of our land must come to an end, and we will forcefully ensure that it came to an end. For over 4 years now, we have been issuing public statements as a warning for all foreign investors to withdraw their investments in the geographic region known as Nigeria, especially in Biafraland, for what is to come. That day has finally came. As a result of these unjust oppression and atrocities against our people, Prince Nnamdi Kanu, the eminent supreme leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, and the supreme commander of the Biafra armed forces, recently announced that we are changing course in this struggle, starting with the corrupt politicians in Biafraland, who were instrumental in the chaos, killings, and destruction brought to Biafraland. These senseless and oppressive military exercises in Biafraland, known as Operations Python Dance 1, 2 and 3, were deliberated, designed and carried out, for the sole purpose of unjustly killing and maiming of our youths, women and children. 8 and 9th month pregnant women were forcefully beaten, kicked in the stomachs, and their unborn fetuses forcefully removed from their wombs, with sharp military-style knives and machetes, while others were violently kicked, beaten with military and police rifles, and tortured in broad daylights until the unborn fetuses were forcefully pressured out of their stomachs through their vaginas, with thick bloods gushing out, in the presence of onlookers. These events were happening daily on the local roads, highways, marketplaces and town centers. These crimes perpetrated by the purported professional uniformed men, with AK-47s, were nothing short of efforts to duplicate the horrors and nightmares of numerous infliction of harm and injuries perpetrated by the fourth terrorist organization in the world, the Fulani herdsmen, in the forms of assault, rape, cutting open the wombs of pregnant women, and aborting the unborn babies. But before then, forcefully raping the pregnant women, while forcing the husbands at gunpoint to watch and witness those horrors, then subsequently killing the pregnant women, in the presence of the crying husband, and her other children. These well-documented events were happening, and are still happening, on a daily basis, all across Biafraland. To mark the commencement of the Operation Python Dance 1, the palace home of a traditional monarch of Afara Ibeku, His Royal Majesty, Israel, Ipob Kanu, the father of the eminent supreme leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, Prince Nnamdi Kanu, was illegally and unlawfully raided by the Nigerian soldiers, under the direct instructions from Aso Rock, Abuja, and the governors of the southeastern Nigerian. The purpose of this raid was to assassinate the eminent supreme leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, Prince Nnamdi Kanu. The Nigeria establishment sent an entire battalion of military men, various helicopter gunships, and numerous combat armored vehicles to carry out attacks on the Afara Ibeku's monarch's palace, with specific instruction to shoot any and everything that moves. One thing is certain: whomever that gave that order for the Operation Python Dance evil killings against our people of Biafra will never ever go free. With time, you will understand what we are made of. The elite forces of BLA will certainly hunt you down, and you will equally meet your death, the same way you killed our people, no matter where you are. You may run, but you will never hide from the elite forces of Biafra Liberation Army, BLA. We will hunt you down no matter your location, and by the time we are done, you will understand that you are dealing with elite forces that have sworn to restore and secure the land of Biafra, no matter the circumstances. During the subject wicked operation, the Afara Ibeku monarch, his queen, and the eminent supreme leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, and other family members, were all in the palace during this wicked and unjust Python dance operation. although the monarch and his family, including the eminent supreme leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, sustained numerous injuries during these attacks, injuries inflicted upon them by the Nigeria military. The family were later miraculously evacuated by the security operatives of the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, but unfortunately, lost one of the female family member of the royal family, in addition to the 28 men, and some other women, who were wickedly shot dead, in that same palace. Shortly thereafter, the Nigeria establishment, in joint collaboration with the southeastern governors of Nigeria, attempted to cover up numerous crimes committed in the palace of a sitting monarch, including the attempt to assassinate the eminent supreme leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, Prince Nnamdi Kanu, and equally to cover up numerous violations of the provisions of the United Nations Charter for the Rights of Indigenous People, hastily went to a kangaroo court, to obtain an ex parte order, without hearing, proscribing the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob. All these events happened within a few months after the eminent supreme leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, Prince Nnamdi Kanu, was granted bail by a Nigerian court, having served nearly 2 years of unlawful detention, and previously denied release, after numerous courts have ordered that he be released, as he committed no crimes, for rightfully agitating for his freedom, rightfully and legally making every legitimate efforts to create awareness by appealing to the conscience of humanity, through protests and demonstrations, regarding the plight of Biafrans, and doing his very best to set the good oppressed people of Biafra free from the evil hands and wicked crutches of bondage, after the expiration of the 100 years amalgamation documents that created the contraption called Nigeria, and unjust, evil, and immoral documents that were created at gunpoint by the British, without due consultation of the tribes within the region, for the sole purpose of perpetrating evil and wicked oppression against the indigenous peoples. As a result of these wicked acts against our people, the supreme leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, and the supreme commander of the armed forces of Biafra, Prince Nnamdi Kanu, has issued directives for all Biafrans to defend themselves by all and every means necessary, wherever they found themselves, within Biafraland and beyond. The eminent supreme leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, Prince Nnamdi Kanu, has equally given directives for all Ipobs in diaspora to keep surveillance on any and all corrupt politicians, henceforth, traveling overseas, especially those in the southeast Biafraland, who are instrumental in the killings of our people. Make no mistake about it, we have abided by all international protocol for the rights of indigenous people, including the 2007 United Nations Rights of Indigenous Peoples, but the Nigeria establishment continued to senselessly commit genocide against the people of Biafra. This same charter, which the United Nations itself willfully, deliberately and intentionally failed to live up to, while the unjust killings of Biafrans continued even till this day, but we are not going to let it continue. Reports have shown that over 200 Christians are senselessly killed on a daily basis, in that geographic contraption called Nigeria, while the world watches. As a result, it has become necessary to immediately commence this operation, in order to drive these unwelcome elements out of Biafraland, and reclaim our land. The use of the right of self-defense, as a legal justification for the use of force, in times of danger, is available in many jurisdictions around the world, including the United Nations, as well as in the Nigeria Constitution. It has been proven beyond doubt that Nigeria is now a terrorist state, that the agreement used to amalgamate numerous nations and forming the expired country, once known as Nigeria, which expired as of December 31, 2013, is now without force and effect. It is also known that the expired country known as Nigeria is now without security forces, and now without a legitimate duly elected president and government. As a result, innocent lives are being wasted every day, when armed criminals, both those in uniform and those without, identified as Fulani herdsmen, are blocking the roads throughout Nigeria, shooting sporadically, killing innocent motorists of Biafraland, and others all across Nigeria. All these unjust killings of innocent people at will were happening on a daily basis, while the world watches, and remaining mute. While these elements are operating within the entire Nigeria rogue state, in Biafraland, we have a situation where unknown uniformed armed masked men, in camouflage, without name tags, are stopping vehicles on the highways, extorting money from motorists, shooting and maiming innocent drivers and passengers, yet, nothing is done about it. It has been established that these criminal elements are not real military men, rather, unknown masked criminals with AK-47s that terrorizes the whole of Biafraland. For years, these criminals have laid siege in Biafraland, terrorizing communities, and summarily executing the innocent, in close range, including women and children. It is the mission of BLA to forcefully put a stop to these atrocities, perpetrated in our land, by these unknown wicked criminal elements. The mission of Biafra Liberation Army, BLA, will be limited to all areas of Biafraland. Our first mission, therefore, is to drive out any and all unknown armed criminal elements found on the roads and forests of Biafraland. This mission will be carried out decisively, by BLA forces in collaboration with special squadrons of highly skilled and trained paramilitary foreign professionals, with expertise in this special operation, sophisticated ironclad strategies, and choice of targets. This mission will be carried out simultaneously, all across Biafraland, for as long as it lasts, no matter what it takes, until these wicked bastards are either reduced to dust, or completely, totally, and permanently smoked out, and driven out of our roads and forests. In every civilized society, the duties of the military is to defend and protect the nation from foreign invaders, while the police protects lives and properties, not blocking the roads and unjustly extorting money and killing the innocent citizens they were meant to protect. It has been established even by the Nigerian establishment, that it has no ability and capabilities of defending its citizens, and that it has no security apparatus capable of doing so. As a result, the Nigerian state is in the state of anarchy. In every civilized nation, every citizen has the right to bear arms and defend themselves, when exposed to harm. Make no mistake about it, once we commence this guerrilla warfare operation, any military helicopter found hovering over Biafraland, within range, will be shot down. One thing is clear, the Biafran freedom fighting movement is not like any other. It is on the record that numerous attempts have been made in the past, to assassinate the supreme leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, but the global community should and must be cautioned about one thing: any successful attempt to eliminate our supreme leader, no matter who is involved or where it may happen, will instantly result in global crisis, and in fact, may even lead to World War III. The resilience and formidability of the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, must not be taken for granted. What the global community should and must embark upon, henceforth, is finding solution for the immediate release of the people of Biafra, from the 100-year evil bondage in that contraption called Nigeria, created by the British. The issue at hand is not whether Biafra freedom fighters, BLA, will fight for a noble cause by acting in reprehensible, cruel, and destructive ways, to defend and protect the land of Biafra. Our initial goal is simply, to drive unwelcome criminals out of our land. Other objectives will follow. This is the preliminary steps towards the restoration of the land of Biafra. Make no mistake about it, we are acquiring that land we have inhabited for thousands of years, that land which is valuable, and highly desirable to us. Our goals are numerous. These goals included but not limited to reacquiring our land, restoring our sovereignty, hope, freedom, liberty, as well as restoring social and economic opportunities for our good people of Biafra. As an initial matter, while the mission of BLA is defined, all Biafran youths are now equally empowered to do whatever is necessary, by any means necessary, to ensure that these criminal elements are driven out of our land. Biafrans must realize that we have the advantage of the forests and jungle terrain within our geographic region. With this comes a variety of effects on our military and paramilitary operations. Be assured that once we commence operation, A wide variety of weapons will be used for our self-defense, including the ones many are not aware of, and even the ones not recognized by the international community, to ensure that the killing of our people is put to an end. One thing is clear: by the time we are done, all the bastards laying siege in our lands will be flushed out of our roads and forests and reduced to dust. At last, victory will be ours. No matter how ready they may think they are, these bastards and bloodsuckers laying siege in the lands of Biafra should prepare for an overwhelming shock from Biafra Liberation Army. Freedom is precious to those who don't have it. As oppressed people, our oppressors does not understand what it really was like to live a life determined by the struggle to be free for the past 100 years. We are determined to change that perception, to ensure that they understand fully the plight of the oppressed people of Biafra. For over 100 years, the British government have perpetrated unimaginable evil and crimes against the people of Biafra, while at the same time unjustly taken the natural resources found in Biafraland. We have long endured the unjust kidnappings, raping, maiming and killings of our people, especially innocent women and children in their homes, farms and marketplaces. We are here to tell humanity that we can no longer tolerate that. The people of Biafra can no longer continue to disappear from the face of this earth for the global community to know that we exist as a people. Rather, we are determined henceforth to take our own future into our own hands no matter the consequences, and every necessary actions taken against the terrorist state of the zoo contraption called Nigeria henceforth is as a result of the crimes committed against our people, and will be equally justified by any imaginable standards within the global community. On numerous occasions, the cabals that runs the expired rogue state known as Nigeria has publicly declared that the subject expired Nigerian state has no security apparatus capable of maintaining the security of lives and property. In other words, that the lawless entity known as the zoo contraption called Nigeria is now without security and therefore in the state of anarchy. The videos of the subject declarations by the Nigerian establishment are publicly available in the public domain such as Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo and a host of others. As a result of the subject declaration by the Nigerian establishment, all youths and college students are now empowered to immediately organize themselves for the common task of doing what is necessary, and by every possible ways and means, to protect our people and property, especially the women and children, as well as the elderly, within your respective regions. The land of Biafra is vast, and as such, you must start doing the needful within your respective regions, to ensure that these criminal elements operating within Biafraland are permanently smoked out of our land. As Biafrans, we will never allow anyone to intimidate us, ever again, as we are standing on no one's ground, but ours. The land of Biafra belongs to us and power equally belongs to every one of us. There is absolutely no shame in that. In fact, it's a necessity. We can no longer allow our enemies to trample us to death, anywhere in Biafraland. We have long endured their unjust marginalization and wicked oppression, but when the dust settles, they will realize that it is not those who can inflict the most, but those who can endure the most, who will conquer. The people of Biafra have gotten to the level of anger and understanding to set aside our fears. We are now determined more than ever to do what is absolutely necessary to reclaim our land, no matter the consequences, as fear will only give us fight, and in turn, that fight will give us freedom, and we are prepared to get that freedom at whatever the costs. Thomas Jefferson once said that when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. In other words, when injustice is law, rebellion is duty. As hardcore Biafrans, we have sworn that it will be a great privilege and honor to die for Biafra, rather than remaining a slave of the British and the House of Fulani Caliphate for eternity. The indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, under the leadership of our eminent supreme leader, Prince Nnamdi Kanu, have broken the slave bondage. Biafrans intends to build a frame of government for the new Biafran nation, upon republican principles. A human, caught under the oppression of a foreign nation in his or her own country, must willingly fight, risking everything including life, in order to achieve freedom, and we are prepared to do just that, as we can no longer remain slaves to the British and the Fulani Caliphate in that geographic zoo contraption called Nigeria. We are determined to control our own lives and our own future, and we must do so. We make no apologies for that. As Biafrans, we have gotten to the point where we must fight and die if necessary, to ensure that we live under our own rules and regulations. Freedom is an expensive gift, always worth fighting for, no matter the costs. As Biafrans, we fight not for glory, wealth nor honors, but exclusively for our freedom and for our children, and future generations. The Nigerian government presumed that they have all the military power, exclusively designed to oppress and kill the people of Biafra. They equally presumed that they have what it takes to stop the coming of Biafra, yet failed to use such military might to curtail the evil atrocities of the terrorists Boko Haram, Fulani herdsmen and the Miyetti Allah. However, one thing is assured: attempts to minimize the horrors of what is to come, by the Nigeria rogue military, will be calls to understand the plight of those who cries with anger for justice, for the past 100 years. This time around, the people of Biafra should not worry about British getting involved in this conflict, for we know exactly what to do, to bring them to their knees. Let it be known that this is not 1967-70. If that zoo contraption called Nigeria thinks that Britain will get involved in this upcoming conflict, that is mere wishful thinking, for getting involved in this conflict will officially end the monarchy in the British Empire. Furthermore, it will be a grievous mistake for any nation on this earth to get involved, entangle itself, in this conflict between the Fulanis and Biafrans, given that the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, are spread out in more than 100 countries, and have the capacity and capabilities to carry out any defense operation, with maximum force, against any hostile nation, for the sake of Biafra freedom. Now that I have enumerated on the reasons Biafra Liberation Army, BLA, have to justify its cause of action, choice of targets, and ironclad strategies designed for protection of our land, we will now await final order from our Supreme Commander to commence operations, as deemed necessary, to protect our people and defend our land of Biafra. Make no mistake about it, we are freedom fighters, and when one fights for its land that becomes occupied by foreign forces, he is a freedom fighter of its self-determination, and as such, today, I, Comrade Commander Guerrilla, of the Biafran Liberation Army, officially announce that all BLA soldiers of freedom are now placed on high alert, to ready themselves, awaiting the final orders from the Supreme Leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, Ipob, and the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces of Biafra, Prince Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, for the commencement of Operation Restore Freedom. Once we receive the final orders from the Supreme Leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, we will commence this brutal operation, with no mercy. For any attacks carried out by BLA, soldiers of freedom, in self-defense, against our enemies, in Biafraland, will be confrontational, coming from all angles, in all fronts, simultaneously, like you have never seen before, and must come as shock and awe, for maximum effect, and catastrophic devastation. When the dust settles, the global community will determine between Biafra Liberation Army, BLA, and the Nigeria criminal elements, who was better trained in the act of warfare, based on the calculated figures of casualties. To demonstrate our formidability to the Nigerian establishment, the Biafra Liberation Army, BLA, had initially planned to carry out a minimum of 28 simultaneous shock and awe, catastrophic attacks, against our enemies, at our chosen targets, within the first few hours of September 14, 2019, in the honor of our dead heroes. Each of these 28 catastrophic operations were designed to honor each victim of September 14, 2017 massacre, at palace home of a traditional monarch of Afara Ukwu, His Royal Majesty, Israel, Kanu, the father of the eminent Supreme Leader of Indigenous People of Biafra, Ipob, Prince Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The Biafran Liberation Army, BLA, initially planned to launch these 28 simultaneous offensive and defensive catastrophic operations in Abuja, and all 5 southeastern states of Biafraland, on September 14, 2019, against our enemies, where the evil Operation Python Dance 3 were being carried out. These catastrophic operations were meant to be carried out in remembrance of the 28 fallen heroes of Biafra, on September 14, 2017, at the palace of His Royal Majesty Israel, Kanu, the father of our supreme leader. However, out of respect for our eminent supreme commander, under the command and control structure of Biafra Restoration, and given the fact that recent tremendous progress has been made with his recent visit at the European Union, EU Parliament, in line with his non-violence approach with the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, the main body of Biafra restoration effort, supported by the paramilitary wing Biafra Liberation Army, BLA, as a separate organization pursuing the same cause. The BLA leadership has decided to call off and temporarily suspend the launching of the catastrophic operation scheduled for September 14, 2019, at least for now, for the following reasons. The mission would have been quite shocking, devastating and surprising within the geographic region known as Nigeria, given that BLA did not have enough time to brief the supreme leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, and the supreme commander of the Biafra Armed Forces, to advise him of our intentions to execute this particular catastrophic mission of September 14, 2019, due to his unavailability, and his busy schedule at European Parliament, EU, earlier this week. We must make clear, however, that this initiative has not been approved by the Supreme Leader of Indigenous People of Biafra, Ipob, and the Supreme Commander of Biafra Armed Forces. Nonetheless, one thing is clear. We have not forgotten the events of 14 September, how the world watched while Biafrans were massacred, just like they did in 1967-70, while over 6 million citizens of Biafra were massacred. The Nigeria establishment should, and must remember that. While our Sept 14, 2019, initial launch of the catastrophic operation to honor our dead heroes, has been temporarily suspended, the commencement of the main Operation Restore Freedom, guerrilla warfare, against the Nigerian establishment to drive the criminal elements out of our land, towards Biafra restoration, may begin at any time, and place without further notice, once we receive orders to commence operation from our eminent Supreme Commander under command and control structure. Let it be known, therefore, that the Operation Restore Freedom, by the Biafra Liberation Army, when it begins, will commence as a shoot-at-sight operation, against all unwelcome criminal elements found in the roads and forests of Biafraland. It is a special operation designed to ensure that those criminal elements kidnapping, torturing, oppressing, assaulting, raping and killing our people in Biafraland, are brought to justice. We are here to deal with the Fulanis that brought harm to our land, and you can be assured that they will be decimated when we commence operation. This special task is limited to the Special Forces of Biafra Liberation Army, BLA, a specially trained skillful set of squadrons, capable of accomplishing this mission. This mission will equally be accomplished, in joint collaboration, with special paramilitary squadrons of highly trained skillful foreign professionals, specially engaged, to get the job done. Make no mistake about it, we are coming with rage, and with time, you will feel the heat. The Nigeria establishment have absolutely no idea what they have coming, but be assured that shock and awe is coming to the land of Biafra, until these evil criminal elements are completely, and permanently, smoked out of our roads and forests. While this operation will serve as the first defense mechanism, in defending our rights to exist as a people in our own land, all across Biafraland, many more operations against the Nigerian state will be forthcoming, until we totally and permanently paralyze the Nigerian establishment, bringing it to its knees, and once again, restoring Biafra as a sovereign nation. Having said that, the Nigerian criminal rogue elements operating within our roads and forests will be given a few weeks, limited window of opportunity, from this moment, to voluntarily and completely remove themselves, withdrawing themselves from the evil operation being perpetrated against the people of Biafra, on our roads and forests, as failing to do so, within this limited time, will be a thing of regret. Once we commence operation, let me sound a word of warning to the Fulani Caliphate and the British Empire. While we await final orders from the Supreme Leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, Ipob, and the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces of Biafra, Prince Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, before we commence operation. Once again, as a sound of warning, we expect the House of Fulani criminal elements, both those in uniform and those without, found within the roads and forests of Biafraland, to voluntarily and permanently vacate and withdraw from all illegal checkpoint locations mounted on our roads. This is to ensure minimal casualties and minimize the loss of lives, once our operation is in full gear. Should they fail to do so, after 90 days of commencement of our operation, by leaving remnants of these criminal elements still on our roads and forests, and still terrorizing our people, we will immediately take out the Sultan of Sokoto, just to show the global community how formidable we are, and how serious and committed we are, in securing our land. Once the Sultan is buried 6 feet under, we shall see then, who and what will remain, in that zoo contraption called Nigeria. Make no mistake about it, if we don't take him out in his palace in Sokoto, we will track him around the world, to ensure that the mission is fully carried out, for all the evil brought upon our land of Biafra, originated from the evil palace of the Sultan of Sokoto Caliphate. One thing is certain, fire and fury is coming to that zoo contraption called Nigeria, as justice for the oppressed and marginalized people of Biafraland. On behalf of the brave liberators of the oppressed people of Biafra, I, Comrade Commander Guerrilla, from Dar, Ngo, Nobi, in Anambra, Biafraland, proudly proclaims, "All hail Biafra, and long live Biafra." In due time, further proclamations will follow. This is Comrade Commander Guerrilla, Las Vegas, Nevada. Out.